Freedom Expo. We're going to check out Patrick Moore and how hemp can save the planet.
What I found was they were both right. That the medical industry has been a fraud, and that the greatest medicines in the world, 100 years ago, cannabis, you know it, and close over to the most common medicines in America, 180 medical institutions. They all use many different forms of it. They all use many different forms of cannabis. It was like that aspirin and penicillin of the era. Was being removed from the pharmacopoeia and being replaced with petroleum products. It's cost us how untold millions of lives and the amount of suffering that could not even ever begin to be gauged. But we start to think about it and say, were there not the cancers and the diabetes and the epidemics that have run rampant in the 20th century, we would have had more time to expand our space program, to expand our human relations, to work on evolution as a culture. And again, we might be vaguely unrecognizable to ourselves right now. So I think at this moment we can see a clear transition point where if we embrace hemp as Canada, Germany, much of the world, we're the last industrial nation in the world that's not growing industrial hemp at this point. And like I said, Portugal's now legalized, has ended prohibition of all drugs altogether. 12 years ago, with no radical, Portugal didn't go up in flames. It's doing better than most countries in Europe. As far as the social issues involved in drug problems, virtually gone. So the textbook case of what would happen if we went totally radical and legalized all drugs has already been done and shown to be a success. So the idea that stepping forward with industrial hemp at the very minimum, or at least full cannabis legalization, which is at the root of what we're working on. Philosophically, there's a lot of information. At the very root of what we're working on right now is Barney Frank just introduced a Senate bill, a resolution in D.C., to deschedule cannabis federally, which would take the federal government out of the equation altogether and allow each and every state to come up with its own policies. That makes the most sense to us. I think the overwhelming problem in the cannabis debate in America today has been a push from the federal government to propagandize and fulfill their own agenda. And it's meant lies, it's meant cheating, it's meant all the things they've done for the last 80 years against this community. And to have them out of the debate locally, all issues could be resolved. And maybe some states would be a little more liberal or conservative than others, but I don't think any would try to do what the federal government's done. And then locally, as much as I can hope for that, I can act locally more powerfully. So in California, we're introducing the Jack Hare Initiative. It's the CCHI, California Cannabis Hemp Initiative. It was written by Jack Hare, as I was talking about earlier with the Emperor Wears No Clothes. He really wrote the finest piece of legalization I've read so far. Many that have come up. Some just passed in Washington and Oregon. Prop 19 was very famous a few years ago here in California because it came very close to passing. All of those are very flawed bills, by my opinion, and many people I know. Clear and clean legislation is really what we need. In California, we can set a precedent not by being the first to legalize, but by legalizing in the best way, putting the best piece of legislation forward. So when the rest of the world looks around and says, well, how do we get out of this mess? How do we pull up and out of the drug war? They can look at California and say, oh, progressive legalization does work as well. You can be very conservative about it, which is kind of what Washington did, but you can be very progressive about it as well and really empower the people to take back a backyard with some industrial hemp could feed an entire family. A few square feet of industrial hemp can make a difference within a family and within a small community to be able to set aside 10, 20, 30 acres of industrial hemp. You can start building community houses. You can start producing your own fuel. You can start, again, feeding the entire community on the finest food source in the world. And really virtually nothing. Hemp is not only so useful as again, the most miraculous food, and as further we get into nutritional science, I keep watching hemp pop up more and more outside the spectrum of the hemp scene because it can no longer be ignored by sheer caliber of the essential fatty acids, the protein makeup, the entire nature of it is this greatest superfood. And then industrially it has the same potential. It does everything petroleum can do, so it's sustainable, it's clean, and it's safe. The most miraculous thing that really stands out for me at this moment about industrial hemp is its ability to phytoremediate nuclear disasters. Chernobyl in Russia, Russia has an active industrial hemp scene that they give thanks to Jack Hare for introducing them to, reintroducing them to. In Chernobyl, they planted 2,000, I believe, acres of industrial hemp around the meltdown site, and it has been phytoremediating. It has been literally digesting and then detoxifying nuclear radiation. And that is, again, a step that I knew there were certain algae that did this. There are certain funguses they're studying, but hemp does it in its nature. So we could be covering south of Japan with hemp, as it once was, as the whole world once was, and really solving the great disasters in the world today. If we think about what are the things we fear the most in the 20th century, what are the ghosts that haunt us the most from the 20th century, it is hunger. You guys, as I was explaining, we have a perfect solution for that. Gautama Buddha, in the Buddhist teachings, said he lived on hemp seeds alone for 6 years. The 6 years that led up to him becoming Buddha. So the last 6 years of him being in the physical state before he became enlightened, he ate nothing but hemp seeds. And that's a lesson to the world that you can literally live on hemp seeds for many years. And that's happened throughout history over and over and over. Every time a plague would come, every time the locust would come, the hemp plant would always survive. And there's some very well documented cases of this. Something about Australia right now, when they dropped off a group of those prisoners in England. Said, we'll be back in 6 months. Went back and went to war with Spain. So they didn't show back up for 6 years. And as soon as they dropped them off, a locust came and ate everything, but the hemp plant survived. So they lived on hemp seeds. They thought it was going to be 6 months, and then 9 months, and then 6 years later, they finally showed up, and they've been eating some lizards, but mostly hemp seeds. And they were healthier than the soldiers, or the sailors who showed up from England with big barrels of food for them. So the reality is we'd probably be better off, narrowing our diet, focusing our diet in on industrial hemp, and limiting the genetically engineered corn and soy that's taken over the world right now. We could quickly convert those crops into biofuels and quickly replace them with a booming global hemp movement and feed the world. And that relates so closely to the other specter of the 20th century, which is war. I believe that you cannot really convince most people to go to war unless there's a feeling that they're about to lose something. If you can convince people that they're going to lose their house, they're going to lose their food sources, they're going to lose their resources, their family, because of some issue, then maybe you can actually get them to gear up and head off to another country and kill people. But without that fear, when there's a sense of sustainability, Dennis Kucinich always used to make the metaphor that sustainability is peace. At the point that people are secure, you cannot push them off into the foreign lands to kill other people and take away their resources. So with hemp as a secured local resource for all communities, I believe we might have skipped most of the wars in the 20th century, and I believe we can skip all the wars in the 21st century. Disease, that's the other. And a great deal of disease is related to malnutrition, as I'm sure most of us know here at the Health Freedom Expo. So again, a stable, foundational protein source takes care of many of the health issues. On the flip side, there's the medical marijuana flower. There's the cannabis flower, sativa and indica, that's been used therapeutically since the earliest time. The earliest references to medicine involved cannabis in China. And on from there, every culture that started developing medicine and had access to cannabis used it as a fundamental therapeutic and gave it high praise as Chinese and Greeks. Cannabis sativa is what they deemed it in Greek. That means it's the most useful plant. I appreciate the pictures of it, calling it cannabis sativa.
What happened? What is your story? What happened to you?